Well, I don't know how to exactly start this, but let's start someplace. The New World Order. Well, who's behind it? Who's behind the so-called New World Order, which the international establishment has been promoting? First things first, it's not a really new idea. The grand design for a New World Order has been in the works for decades. It was the original premises upon which the ill-fated League of Nations was conceived, and later the basis upon which the United Nations was established. Only as a result of war with Iraq did those who had been scheming for a new world order begin to talk publicly about their ultimate game, one world government. That's because it had taken them until this point in time to see that their global dream placed within its reach. A lot of key players in global affairs have been in the forefront of the drive for the New World Order, but among them are all the members of the Council on Foreign Relations, CFR. As early as 1974, the CFR launched the 1980 project, which had its aim nothing less than creation of a new global political and economic system to replace the existing one. That is called the New World Order. To understand how the U.S. foreign policy is conducted, you have to understand the CFR. It's America's secret government. Formerly headquartered in New York, the CFR membership constitutes a wide range of powerful individuals, including members of the Rockefeller family who operated in the Rockefeller sphere of influence. Those include major figures in the media, academic, corporate, legal, financial worlds. This is also a significant number of government officials, both elected and appointed, who serve as CFR members. They have direct ownership stake in an external economic and financial instrument that serves the American market. They know long before the average citizen does when these instruments are being threatened or interfered with. See, the chart on the inside of the special report demonstrates the key policy-making positions in the Clinton administration. The CFR publishes a quarterly journal, Foreign Affairs, and conducts regular meetings and seminars. Created in 1921 with Rockefeller family funding, the CFR emerged as the American branch of the British Royal Institute of International Affairs. That was the brainchild of Cecil Rhodes. And his ultimate goal is restoring British hegemony over the United States. Let's see. The CFR has never failed to advance U.S. foreign military policy measures since World War II. It has been this way since the establishment of the CFR. CFR members, beginning with the Republican administration of Herbert Hoover on through the present day, and both of the parties have continuously been appointed to key policy-making posts, steering the course of American engagement in world affairs. Leading figures from the CFR played a primary role in creating the United Nations. The global body that is at least under the so-called New World Order would function as a de facto world government. You getting this? You remember when Hillary said when she becomes president that she wouldn't have very far to go down to the Council on Foreign Relations to get her marching orders? This started in 1943 when Cordell Hall from Tennessee, he was going back and forth to England and so on. Today, the UN, the CFR creation, is playing pivotal roles in the designs for a new world order. Former President George Bush cast his war against Iraq as part and parcel of the plan for a new world order. Remember his speech in 1990? Yep, out of these ashes will come a new world order, so on and so forth. Although the CFR is Manhattan-based, it reaches coast to coast and beyond. Local prominent figures in politics, society, academic are invited to exclusive membership in the CFR affiliates. These entities bring in their forums, well-known global figures, and conduct policy seminars which promote the New World Order propaganda line of the CFR in the local level. The major part of the establishment drive for the New World Order is shaping public opinion so that voting public will accept this international agenda laid forth by the planners behind the scenes. According to one CFR member, the planners of the New World Order seek a private consensus on major issues. Consensus seeking must be a central element. The power brokers will seek to educate attentive audience so that the public opinion will come to reflect the private consensus. In other words, the CFR power brokers will seek a consensus among their own particular elite regarding what approaches to take towards major international issues. After such a consensus is reached, the power brokers will then use their influence to educate local elites, such as those who make up the CFR affiliates around the country, as to what's best for the people. As a result, these influential local groups will then propagate the CFR's New World Order propaganda line in the public interest. In this way, a small clique such as those operating from the Rockefeller CFR sphere of influence is able to propagate its view to eager local audiences, then spread globally anti-national thinking in their own communities. Now, these people, now I've showed this before. This is the media. This is all these people that are in the CFR and the Trilateral Commission. It just goes down. There's ABC, Public Brand, all these people. You wonder why nothing gets done? You think that these people that you put into power, that you vote in, are doing your bidding? They're doing what they're told to do. Influence comes from money. And they get their money from these rich people, and then they have to go along with everything that they want. You don't have any influence. If you think you do, you're crazy. I mean, all these people, now you look at it, there's old Colin Powell, CFR. Colleges. It just goes on and on. I'm just not going to go through here because I already have a video out on all this stuff. Institute of Peace, Office, yeah, Treasury Department. Now this is it's just absolutely crazy. You don't have any. You think your voting and stuff does any good? It does not. Yeah, they have usually right around 3,100 members. Okay? Definition of tyranny. Now, you know, they set up this so-called United Nations supposedly for world peace. Well, that was so they could add more agencies and siphon off more American taxpayers' money. I wrote this a long time ago. It says, the United Nations is a Trojan horse. It was presented to America by rich, powerful men in the guise of peace. One of the purpose is to promote laws and treaties that will make us submissive. With such laws, you can then manipulate people without undue protest. In this way, they can achieve power and control in a quiet and subtle manner without ever having to fire a shot. Now, this little peacekeeping thing that they set up really blossomed. I mean, they become a world government unto themselves. They have the World Bank and International Monetary Fund. That's this. Yeah, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, is a special agency of the United Nations. It didn't start out as the world lender of last resort. Few people realize its original task in 1945 was to help manage the currencies of North America and Europe according to the Bretton Woods Agreement. But then in 1970 it began to grow. They bailed out Mexico, then they bailed out Mexico again. All your money is going out of your pocket somewhere else. Where's this at? Okay. Now they originally started this back in like 1917, after the war. But didn't take long for us to get dragged into the war because of this Colonel House. And he pushed for the League of Nations and penned the first draft of the League of Nations covenant. But to their credit, the American people recognized the League of Nations treaty for what it was, a direct attempt to circumnavigate the Constitution. The Senate wisely rejected the treaty on the following grounds. The treaty would require the United States to go to war without a declaration to Congress, which is presently what happened under the United Nations in the case of Korea and Vietnam. It also would commit the nation to the expenditure of funds which Congress might not wish to appropriate. Anyway, that's just part of it. So now you know what's going on. Like here, this is 1999. U.S. to pursue internet tax. Well, the United Nations wanted to get their little hands on some tax money, so they started this stuff. Here's what's going on in schools. Now this is the Alliance Review, May 18th, 2001. Okay? They're brainwashing, got these kids all dressed up like they're students recently participated in the Stark County Model United Nations program at the Mount Union College. Yeah, they're learning about the UN Code of Conduct, and they talk about global issues include Ebola virus, AIDS, Rwanda, drought, earthquakes, prenatal care, Chernobyl, and drug trafficking. They're pushing this in schools, people. Here you got this nitwit Ted Turner. Now this was back March of '98. Ted Turner. When mega mogul announced that he was donating $1 billion to the UN over the next 10 years, his wife Jane Fonda burst into tears, so on and so forth. The money will fund programs that feed starving children, remove landmines, help refugees, and study climate change. Here's what I read. Ted Turner wanted to be secure in the knowledge that when he had a chair waiting for him when the UN music stopped. They're playing musical chairs. Here you go. You got summits aren't what they used to be. Where's the date? Right there. May 12th, 1995. New World Order. Bring summits down to earth. And gunning for American rights to keep and bear arms. I'm not kidding, people. Get us out of the United Nations. The United Nations should never be confused with legitimately elected governments or America's historical allies. This is in 2000. Albright was pushing for water rights. State Department plans to donate $2 million to start a new fund at the United Nations to improve regional water management. Now let's get back to where I have that thing. This is what they started out. It's going to be a nice little thing to keep the peace. And then they have the World Bank. And you got the UN, Educational Scientific Culture Organization, International Labor Organization, World Court, Health Organization, UNICEF, United Nations Children Fund, World Meteorological Organization, World Trade, World Food and Agriculture, the UN Population Fund, UN Human Rights, International Drug Control. The architects of this, they started this many years ago. And it's up to you to put a stop to it. You know, this is the truth about the Korean War. Everything, each and every one of us that served in Korea and Vietnam served under the total command of a Soviet general. All this stuff was transferred back to New York before anything could be done, and then all your enemy knew what was going on before it even started. Here's Clinton. He wanted a standing U.S. Army on U.S. soil. Is going to be a permanent peacekeeping force structured to be in New York City. Open your eyes, start thinking, inform your neighbors, get us out of the United Nations. Thanks for watching.